Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Paulman, Dutch Speed Selling, welcoming each and every one of you to the Raging Verbalist number 312. If you're keeping track, it is 2026. This is the very first one. Welcome to the new year. If you haven't already been figuring that out, maybe you're still a little bit hungover. Today, we're going to be talking about a very important topic, which is resolutions. But first, of course, you can catch us on YouTube and Facebook, and the Facebook group is Position to Win Book, Position to Win Book. If you haven't already figured that out, and of course, shameless plug. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to win. Okay, so resolutions have been going on for a long time, and there's always a controversy that happens, which is people say, "Should I have them? Shouldn't I have them? Does it make sense? Does it really work?" I always break them and all that. So let's kick off by saying it from an historical perspective, they've been going on for a long time. Like 4,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, they started doing this. Romans, Christians, I mean, it's been going on for thousands of years. Now, here's some challenges and how people screw them up. First off, they make them, or they believe they have to make them on the very first day of the year. This so happens to coincide with the second day of the year when I'm recording this. And that's a very important factor because I have found that whenever I start something on January 2nd, not January 1st, that I get a much better result. Why? I think it's psychological, but it's mostly because you kind of feel like, okay, got that first day out of the way, and now I can kind of get serious because, of course, there's a sense of, oh, I'm going to have to change some habits and do what I need to do. So, point number one or tip number one is always start on January 2nd. You can start any time of the year, but I always start on January 2nd. Next step is that you need to make sure that you are serious about whatever you're going to try to get involved with. Now, most of the time, we don't spend enough time thinking or planning or working towards what we're going to go out and try to accomplish. So many years ago, I made a resolution that I was going to quit smoking. And I, made some half-hearted attempts. It took me 5 times, 5 tries, and that's part of the process, by the way. So this is like a bonus tip, which is if you fail, you don't want to fail forever. You just want to say, okay, I'm going to figure it out, going to, reconnoiter, going to figure out how I'm going to do it. So today, January 2nd, 2026, 41 years ago, I was not going to take and have a cigarette, chewing tobacco, a cigar, a pipe. I smoked and chewed. I did all of that stuff. And it's been 41 years since I've had tobacco products. And I've had people give me cigars for when their kids were born. I've had people say, John, it's worth it to celebrate. I went through the whole cigar thing, went to people who said, hey, we're going to meet in a cigar bar. Great. I'm not going to be doing it because, frankly, I have that kind of addictive personality. Now, the reason why it's stuck, I believe, is that I had five. It took me 5 attempts. The fifth one has held out. Knock on wood. We have today and today only, and we just keep marching on. But the point of it is that you need to decide what thing you want to do. The next point that I'd like to make, and I'm not numbering these, but the next point is that do not try to do like multiple big things. Like quitting smoking was a big thing for me. So I didn't give up drinking. I didn't give up caffeine. I didn't give up, a bunch of other things. Sadly, I did gain some weight. By the way, I went caffeine crazy after that. I mean, I would go to a restaurant and order 2 Diet Cokes, no ice, and tell them don't put the straw in because it'll always float to the top because the ice is what keeps the straw in it. And I would do that just to try to keep myself kind of going. Now, slowly but surely, I realized that I had to wean myself from that stuff because, you go from one addiction to the next addiction. But resolutions aren't always about addiction. So what you want to do is you want to figure out what those areas that you're interested in doing. I'm going to tell you, doing one big one is really more important than doing like 25 little baby ones. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have other goals, that you shouldn't have things. Maybe you want to sell, I don't know, 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, $100 million this year. Well, that would be great as long as you're willing to break it down and keep track of it. So that's the other aspect of it is you have to figure out a way that you're going to keep yourself on that path, on that road, and what you might need. Now, you may need help So that's a factor too. If you need help, if you need a support group, if you need some of those things. Now, for me, I have this mindset that once I can turn it off, I can turn it off. Doesn't mean I won't slip, doesn't mean I won't fall. There's no perfection here. But I'm just telling you that you got to figure out what you're going to do with what you're going to do. So just keep that in mind and work from there. So that's important. Next is that you should write out a bunch of them. Now, don't try to be an editor. So shoot the editor, write as many of them as you need to write down. Overwhelm yourself when you're writing these things down. Now, goals and resolutions can be a little bit different, a little trickier. To me, resolutions are a bigger thing. So you need to think in terms of, what is something like a resolution? Now, if you want to lose weight, and I've gone up and down and up and down and up and down a whole bunch of times in my life, you have to say, okay, got to give yourself something specific and what you're going to do. Now, if it's too big a reach, if it's too far, then you probably won't do it. And my way of dealing with this is to sit down and say, okay, what do I want to aim for? What do I want to shoot for? And where do I want to go? Finally, I just want to say that resolutions are important if for only one reason, because so many of us, so many of you don't sit down and write out your goals. So let's get out of the resolution mindset, which I think has got a heavier mantle, and think about goals and what do you want to achieve today? What do you want to achieve this week? What do you want to achieve this month, quarter, year, and your life? You only have so many days. You only have so many minutes. You only have so much time. Shouldn't be toil. It should be, in fact, that you're going to have a great life, and make sure that you set your resolutions correctly. And if you do that, I believe that you'll be able to have success. I've had a lot of resolutions that never came true, but I've had a lot of them that did. The point of it isn't just to try to figure out where you failed, but to where you succeed. Embrace the success, leave the past behind, and move forward. Just talked to somebody just this morning, coaching client long term, and he had a very bad day yesterday because he was thinking about a terrible gig that he had this year. Burned the whole day, anger, upset, did some journaling, did all those things. Maybe he got out of the system. Life is too short to live in a world of regrets. And with that, make a resolution. Here's one that I'll give you. Make a resolution to show gratitude in this world, kindness in this world, and more importantly, extend a helping hand to those who may need it, even though if they don't ask for it, because we're all in this together. And of course, since it is a new year, maybe it's time to read more. Go out and check out Most Businesses Fail in the First 5 Minutes. Just takes 3 to 5 years to realize a position to win. Make sure that you're going to build a winning position. Have a winning life. And more importantly, to make sure that it is the life that you want to lead. Because we end up with the life that we choose, whether we know it or not, whether we accept it or not. And that is one of the key factors of all of it. That is, in my mind, not a secret, because people say it's a secret. No, it's a realization that you are the sum total of the choices that you make every single day for this entire life that you have. And with that, this is John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling, and this has been the Raging Verbalist number 312. And I wish you an absolutely fantastic 2026. And in fact, my recommendation, my admonition is to make a commitment to yourself, no one else, but to make a commitment to yourself that you are going to be committed to making 2026 your best year ever.